Member for Tobique-Mactaquac.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll be sharing my time today with the member from St. Jean. Mr. Speaker, I'm proud to rise today to speak on the subject of trade and agriculture, while underscoring this government's strong support for Canada's supply managed sectors. I'll say right off the top that we are all well aware of the concerns regarding the use of dye-filtered milk in the making of cheese. Our government is working with all sides of the industry to ensure that we continue engaging everyone in order to find a long-term, sustainable, and agreed-upon solution to this issue. Mr. Speaker, agriculture is hugely important in my riding and has played an enormous role in my life. Having grown up on a large family-owned farm myself, producing seed potatoes, oilseeds, and small grains, as well as having worked both in the primary agricultural sector, farming myself for nearly 14 years, and food manufacturing prior to my new role as Member of Parliament. As a supply-managed egg producer for the last 6 years, along with my wife Tanya and our 4 children, through the NB Egg Producers New Entrant Program, I've had an opportunity to see firsthand the tremendous benefit that supply management plays within the dairy and egg sectors, and the tremendous benefit that it affords producers, allowing them to plan strategically in their investments with respect to their own agricultural enterprises, not only for themselves, but for their next future generation and the subsequent generations to follow. Canada's agriculture and agri-food exports exceed $60 billion a year, $61.4 billion. About half of the value of Canada's agricultural production is exported, which is why our government strongly supports free trade. The opportunities for Canada's farmers and food processors on a global stage are nothing short of breathtaking. The UN Food and Agricultural Organization has projected the global demand for food is projected to increase by 60% by 2050. Much of this demand will come from the growing middle class around the world, which is on track to exceed half the planet's entire population over the next 15 years. This is good news for farmers in my riding and across this great country. 2/3 of the middle class will be in Asia, with 250 million people alone in India. The Chinese middle class is growing by the population of Canada every year. It's projected that by 2030, almost 3/4, 70% of China's population could be in the middle class, consuming nearly $10 trillion in goods and services. Canada's economic prosperity is built on open trade. Trade translates into jobs and opportunities for Canadians all across this country. Canada is the 5th largest exporter and the 6th largest importer of agricultural and agri-food products in the world. With our small population and huge production capacity, Canada is the world's leading agricultural trader on a per capita basis. Trade accounts for 1 in every 5 jobs in Canada. As the Honourable Minister of Agriculture likes to say, Canada has the responsibility and the ability to feed this world. Our government certainly recognizes the importance that Canada's role plays in supply managed sectors and in the Canadian economy. In fact, it was our party that fought for and implemented the supply management system we see today, and we will continue to work for the best interests of all Canadians and Canadians' farmers. Canada's supply managed sectors are a major economic force in this country, accounting for close to 285,000 jobs. $2 billion, $32 billion in overall economic benefit. So we understand the importance of compensation for supply managed producers in the context of the Canada-EU trade agreement and the TPP, should it enter into force. Mr. Speaker, we are at a time of tremendous opportunity in Canada, and a tremendous opportunity for Canada's agricultural and agri-food sectors. Agricultural exports are at all-time record highs, and producer incomes and balance sheets are expected to remain at historic levels. Agriculture and food are one of the top 5 fastest-growing exports in Canada. It's estimated that up to 50,000 new jobs in agriculture across the country will be created in the next 5 years, both on and off farm, on top of the vacancies that already exist. Some estimate those vacancies will be in excess of 25,000 jobs. With our small population and huge production capacity, Canada is the world's leading agriculture trader on a per capita basis, as I mentioned earlier. Meanwhile, global demand is projected to be increased by 60%. Mr. Speaker, farmers and food processors, this is tremendous news. The future is bright for Canadian farmers and food processors, with growing demand for the products that we grow here in Canada. Our government will work hard to open new markets for them while doing the right thing and consulting with Canadians and farmers on the TPP. Mr. Speaker, this government's message is clear. We fully support free trade, and we fully support our supply managed sector. That is why we're committed to continuing to engage with the entire sector on this issue to ensure that we achieve a long-term sustainable solution. Once again, I'd like to thank my honourable colleague from Berthier-Masconich for bringing this vital matter before this House and recognize her for her tremendous work on behalf of agricultural producers from coast to coast to coast. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Ms. Speaker.
Questions et commentaires, questions and comments.